Afternoon, Jesse from the West Coast of America. It's 2:16 Pacific Standard Time in the afternoon, and it's still Sunday, the 31st of December, 2023. Counting down until we get rid of 2023, and then 2024 we got to deal with. Oh, joy. I was trying to be concise about this one, but not knowing how much room I've got to say on a voicemail, so I just decided, what the hell, I'll do it this way. Sometimes your reporting kind of freaks me out a little bit there. It does. You enjoy too much of going after people and putting a hell of a lot of emphasis. And maybe that's your shtick right there. Me, on the other hand, I just say it as is because it pisses me off. I screwed up on the voicemail. Much apologizes. I meant the damage report. I meant the damage report on this one. They had troweled up something about a certain police district received an anonymous call. And you can check this out on CBS News. I'll be doing retractions or modifications on my videos when I get a chance on this because it pissed me off. The handling of it was sloppy enough. They were saying that Massachusetts, one of the most liberal states I've ever known, it was one of the bluest states, actually supported book banning. Didn't match up there. So I had to do some research. They're still blue. And since when the school districts out there were actually political districts, actually banned books because we would be hearing about it on the West Coast and having conniption fits over the damn shit. So it drove me crazy. I'm a First Amendment kind of guy. I'm also a due process. And when I hear a police officer going onto a campus here, my friend, searching for a book to ban, Queer Nation. No, no, no. Scratch that. Scratch that. Scratch that. That wasn't it. Queer book. So now you had this investigative officer, plain clothes, with a body cam, covered, covered, but being released to the public. But you just get the audio recording of what was going on. That this teacher had to say, I don't have the book, somebody else has the book. I don't know who's got the book. They should have been raising something like, where the hell's your damn search warrant? When was it okay to have police officers come onto a campus and disturb teachers left and right and say, I want this book now? Since when have we bypassed due process and the First Amendment? We must have passed it a hell of a long while ago. We must have ignored it or slept right through it, Jess. Because this is not upsetting enough. This is infuriating enough. It's like, what happens if I happen to walk into your office, into your place, and I demand that you cease operations because you are a libturd or a libtard, and because the authority invested in me with every other dumb schmuck out here who created this dumbass law that you weren't aware of, which is probably not on the books anyway. But I'm taking the moral authority. And I'm going to take the authority away from you. I'm going to say that you can't say anything anymore. I'm going to go on your show and I'm going to make it a public broadcast at this point over here. And then I'm going to put you in handcuffs. And then I'm going to make an humiliation out of you. And you see where this is leading? You see where this example is leading? It gets worse. Now, I can create the scenario even worse. I continue this scenario even worse, Jess. You look like you studied history. Please tell me you studied history. At least a smattering here, a smattering there. Maybe a little bit of political science 101 in there somewhere. Rumor has it that you were a political official at one time. Maybe you were a Marine at one time. Oh my God. Did you actually have any smarts and intelligence during those days? Were you aware of things happening around you? Did you have a situational awareness happening? Methinks you probably would have. Were you awoke during those days? As opposed to mentally and physically being a zombie and not awake? Asleep to everything else around you? You're just a programmed robot in human form? Methinks you're a human being. Methinks that you had a life. Methinks that you were trying to tell people what was going on. Did you try telling people what's going on? On one particular computer screen, I've got CNN doing the countdown and talking to a lot of people, the news stories, and everything else going on right now. But when I checked my phone, just checking out the YouTube, and I saw that group. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. These guys always going for the shock, but then it just didn't jive, Jess. Now, if you had, or if any one of your researchers actually did look at my videos, you would understand I'm a college student, 57 years old, been in there for about several years already, and I'm having a ball. I didn't have a ball when I went out of high school. My grades sucked, but I barely passed. I went into college and had to start from the beginning at the English placements and math. I wasted 2 years of community college work, but my grades weren't up there. And they gave me the academic boot. Boot to the butt and got out of there for about a year. My mother was about to give me the boot out of the house. Gave me another option, work your ass full time. And I did. And I kicked myself for over 30 years for not completing anything in college. I wasn't dropping out anything. A few classes I was failing. I mean, algebra wasn't exactly one of my strong suits. I didn't have the concept, perspective, or any ability for it, I think. English, I thought I was getting up there, but, my writing skills sucked. The comprehension was okay, but my writing skills sucked. That's why I had to take expository writing. That's why I had to take the other beginning courses concerning about the English grammar in college. Yeah, because my own educational system that I didn't give enough faith and credit to, or even try for, didn't do its job. It didn't. Or else I picked out the wrong classes in high school. Probably my fault anyway. But it didn't help me much anyway. Except I did read a lot of books. I did read a lot of materials out there. Opened up my mind. Expanded a few things. We talked about Bradbury, Orwell. We talked about Asimov. We talked about those kind of books that scared the hell out of people left and right. Huxley. We didn't talk about Hitler and his bullshit book. My brother loved reading that book, but he wasn't a Nazi, but he didn't understand. He didn't have the context or perspective during those days. But it took a visit to the Simon Wiesenthal Museum of Tolerance out in Hollywood. It scared the shit out of him. He learned. It's like a decade or two, no, a couple of decades after that, my family went over there. Second time for Ma and Dave, and a friend of ours during that time. back then. But when our family went as adults, a life changer. Just the exhibits that they had over there was regarding the 1994 riots, but not to mention Nazi Germany, but a few other places I never even heard of. You talk about mind being blown and crying my eyeballs out. Yeah, I was an emotional basket case, and gratefully so. I've seen the ugliness of humanity, my friend. I've seen how literacy destroys people left and right. The willingness to throw away knowledge because of fanaticism. We're doing the same damn shit here. An anonymous caller forces a police chief to go into a school without a warrant for a damn book. Oh my God, I went on a tirade on this one here. I went on a thermonuclear raid on this one. On my channel, you know I do the Diary of the Griever named John Weaver. I deal with mourning, I deal with grieving, I deal with my own emotional problems, but I also deal with politics and anything else that pops in my head. And slowly but surely, I got followers out there who actually do listen to me. That's terrifying. I'm not looking forward to building up the damn base, but I got the base being built up, and okay, then so be it. I guess some people actually are trying to understand where the hell I'm coming from. I'm not trying to do major advertising, just little making people aware of things that I deal with on a constant basis. And I'm not trying to force issues down their throats, but I am talking about my issues that I'm seeing other people going through. My own observations at this point over here, what's going on. And it's terrifying that I'm seeing people relinquishing anything concerning about intelligence or anything related to it to a madman in the principles. It scares me, Jess. I'm 57 years old. I'd seen how politics get flip-flopped like crazy, but not like this. Over the past nearly 30 years, I've seen politicians changing and mutating in their political views, and not to mention in their mentality at this point. And some of the old guard that actually made sense concerning about being a Republican, the new guard comes in, and then everything else goes hell in a handbasket. And not to mention our own damn conservative court being created in the Supreme Court of the United States. You know, when what was it, Aldous Huxley? Huxley was trying to talk about the Brave New World, about the class system. I wondered if he actually had any influence from, it wasn't Nietzsche. Uh, Marx. Karl Marx. I wondered if the material from Marx was added into the book to make us realize what was going on. And I was trying to say in my other video, the one prior to this that I've got on my channel, about how authors put nuggets into these books. Jesse, I guess the age of literacy is dying. You know, I haven't graduated yet from community college. Next January, about a couple of weeks or less, I'll be taking African history and Shakespeare. I've known this particular English teacher for the last class we had, and it was on Zoom when we actually had the COVID nightmare. She was a delight to be in our class. So now we get to do it all over again. I learned about Shakespeare. It's supposed to be the cream of literature, the creme de la creme. I'm wondering what the hell's happening these days when I don't see that much involvement in classes smaller and smaller because they don't feel and are encouraged for enthusiasm and input. The last class I had was regarding critical thinking in literature, and we thought outside the box on this one, my friend. And most of the class, about 10 to 15 of them out of 30, stayed. We all passed because we all put our best minds together. We put our own thoughts, feelings, creativity into our projects. We dazzled everybody in the class. It was fun being creative. Working on a lot of stress right there. Something I wasn't used to a long time ago. Cookie cutter. Shove as much knowledge in your brain. Test you out if you actually retain some of that knowledge and kick your ass out with a graduation certificate. Not enticing, not forcing creativity or anything else. It's no wonder we're going downhill. That's what scares me, my friend. That's what scares me. I'm hoping 2024 will be a lot easier. Because I'm not quite sure what the hell we're going to be doing afterwards. I really don't. Anyway. To you and your wife. You guys make a great team. Happy New Year. Happy, safe New Year. I didn't see anything about prosperous. But let's just hope that the next year coming up and hours away will be a lot kinder to us all. Because if not, just we're FUBAR. You ever seen, there was this movie called Tango and Cash. Introduced me to a term that I'd never heard back in the 80s. My brother and I, we used that terminology it became our lexicon. To put it mildly, Jess, it would stand for fouled up beyond all recognition. I'm trying to keep to the terms and conditions of the programmed algorithms called YouTube and Google. Because if I happen to use the word F-U-C-K in a pronounceable form, I think I would not have the video being able to be posted and presented. But I cannot use that word now, can I? We'll go into First Amendment rights later in the year. We shall have an argument, a discussion over it. I miss having intellectuals. I miss having intellectuals around me that can figure things out. It surprised me in the critical thinking literature class just that the kids are 18, 19, 20, up to 22 age, various ages. My God, they were bookworms. I hear it. I was hearing it in her speech patterns. I was looking at the teacher, and she's nodding her head, smiling, not in condescending, but understanding exactly what they were coming from, where they were coming from, what they were talking about. They had presentation issues a little bit embarrassing when you're going to be coming up to the class and showing your work off. You had to be comfortable with that. Have to be. Yeah, well, I'll contact you next year. Take care, my friend.